comes a moment in your life when you must decide that your inner world will no longer be shaken by outer circumstances, that your belief will no longer bend just because the physical world hasn't caught up yet. The truth is simple. Your assumption creates your reality. What you repeatedly tell yourself, what you emotionally accept as true, and what you hold as the final outcome, this is what eventually becomes your life. But staying unshakable requires inner discipline. It requires choosing your inner truth over outer evidence. It requires loving yourself enough to believe in the life you are creating even when no one else sees it yet. Today you will learn how to stand firm in your assumption, how to stop reacting to the old story, and how to live in the energy of certainty. You are the creator, and your assumption is your power. When you choose to anchor yourself in a new inner story, you are choosing to rise above the noise of your past experiences and step into the version of you who already holds the life you desire. Everything begins on the inside, long before it ever shows itself on the outside. The world you live in today is the result of past thoughts, past assumptions, and past emotional habits. But the beautiful truth is this: the moment you decide to rewrite your inner story, your entire life begins to shift. You are not bound by what happened before. You are not limited by what others believe about you. You are not defined by the mistakes you once made or the moments that hurt you. The power to recreate, renew, and reimagine your life is already within you. It lives in your inner story, the one you tell yourself every single day. The old inner story may have been one of doubt, fear, or limitation. It may have convinced you that you were not enough, that you were too late, too flawed, or too broken to achieve what your heart truly wanted. But that story was only a reflection of past assumptions. It was never your truth. Your truth lives in your ability to choose differently, to speak differently, to act from a place of power rather than pain. Anchoring yourself in a new inner story means stepping into the identity of the person who has already manifested the life you want. It means imagining how they think, how they feel, how they move through the world. It means allowing that identity to become familiar, natural, and comfortable within you. This new inner story is not about pretending or forcing anything. It is about aligning yourself with your deepest truth. Because deep down, you already know you were made for more. You already know your desires were placed within you for a reason. You already know that the life you want is not random. It is a reflection of your potential and purpose. When you begin to anchor yourself in that truth, something remarkable happens. Your mind begins to shift. Your emotions begin to rise. Your energy begins to expand. You stop chasing, worrying, and doubting. Instead, you begin to embody. You begin to claim. You begin to live in the feeling of already having what you want. Anchoring yourself in a new inner story begins with awareness. You must become aware of the old story first. What were you telling yourself? How were you speaking to yourself? What assumptions were you accepting as real without questioning them? Sometimes the old story is so familiar that you don't even notice it anymore. It runs in the background, quietly shaping your reactions, your expectations, and your belief in what is possible for you. But once you see it, once you bring it into the light, you gain the power to change it. Awareness gives you choice. It gives you the freedom to say, that may have been true in the past, but it is not true for me anymore. From there, you begin to consciously create the new story. You decide what you believe about yourself now. You choose the version of reality you are stepping into. If you want love, you tell a story in which you are already loved, cherished, and chosen. If you want success, you tell a story in which you are already confident, capable, and aligned with your purpose. If you want healing, you tell a story in which you are already strong, whole, and supported. This new story becomes your inner foundation. You return to it again and again, especially when the old story tries to pull you back. You affirm it. You feel it. You breathe into it. You imagine the life that matches it. And slowly but surely, it becomes the only story you know. Anchoring yourself in a new inner story also means releasing the need to see instant results. The physical world takes time to rearrange itself according to your inner shift. You are not doing this for quick changes. You are doing this to become the version of you who naturally receives what you desire. Sometimes doubt will whisper. Sometimes fear will return. Sometimes the old story will try to convince you that nothing is happening. But these are only echoes. They have no real power unless you feed them. Instead of reacting, you gently remind yourself, I know who I am now. I know what I have claimed. I know the truth I live in. Your new inner story becomes your emotional home. It becomes the place you return to when the outside world tries to sway you. It becomes the vibration that attracts the experiences you desire. When you stand firmly in this inner identity, you stop needing validation from the outer world. You no longer seek proof because you understand that the inner shift is the proof. You feel the difference within you. You sense the alignment. You trust the process. And the more you lean into this new story, the more natural it becomes. Soon, you find yourself acting differently. You make decisions that match your desired reality. You speak with more confidence. You carry yourself with quiet certainty. You think thoughts that empower rather than diminish. You begin to show up as the future you, until one day that future becomes your present. Anchoring yourself in a new inner story is a commitment to yourself. It is a loving decision to rise into your true potential. It is the moment you choose to lead your life from the inside out. And when you do, nothing outside of you can shake you. You become the author of your reality, the creator of your experience, and the chooser of your destiny. Your new inner story becomes your new life. To feel the reality of your desire as already done is to step into the most powerful state of creation available to you. It is the moment you stop wishing, hoping, and waiting, and instead begin living from the energy of completion. This is not imagination for the sake of fantasy. This is alignment. This is embodiment. This is you entering the vibration of the version of yourself who already has what you want. When you feel something is already done, you bypass doubt, you bypass fear, and you bypass the limitations of time. You shift from longing into having, from separation into unity, from desire into fulfillment. And when you make that inner shift, your outer world naturally follows. Most people attempt to manifest from a place of lack. They focus on what they don't have, what hasn't happened, and what feels missing from their lives. But the universe, the subconscious mind, and the law of assumption do not respond to absence. They respond to energy, emotion, and belief. If you feel I don't have it, you attract more of not having it. If you feel it's not here yet, you attract more waiting. But when you feel it is done, your inner state becomes a magnet for the physical reflection of that truth. To feel your desire as already done, you must first give yourself permission to experience the emotional reality of the outcome. Imagine your desire fulfilled. Close your eyes and bring it into your heart. How would you feel if it were already yours? What emotions would rise within you? Relief, peace, joy, gratitude, confidence. Allow those feelings to wash over you. Let them become familiar, natural, and consistent. These are not just pleasant sensations. They are the energetic codes that instruct your subconscious to create this reality. At first, your mind may resist. It may say, but I don't see it yet, or this feels too unrealistic. That is only because the old emotional habits still hold some weight. You have practiced the feeling of lack for so long that feeling fulfilled may seem unusual. But consistency will shift that. The more you feel the desire is done, the more your mind relaxes into it. The more your heart accepts it, the more it becomes your internal truth. And once something becomes a truth within you, it must show up in your external experience. Feeling the desire as already done means stepping into the identity of the person who has it. If your desire is love, how does the love version of you feel? They feel appreciated, chosen, valued, and emotionally safe. Step into that feeling now. If your desire is abundance, how does the abundant version of you feel? They feel secure, supported, free, and grateful. Step into that feeling now. If your desire is success, how does the successful version of you feel? They feel confident, capable, disciplined, and aligned. Step into that feeling now. You are not pretending, you are aligning. You are tuning your emotional frequency to the reality you want. The outer world is slow, but your inner world is instant. And creation happens from the inside out. When you feel your desire is done, time becomes irrelevant. You no longer look at the calendar and wonder when it will arrive. You stop checking for signs because you know the fulfillment is already created in the unseen. You stop doubting because the emotional experience has already convinced your subconscious mind. Time collapses when you feel the end. You merge with the version of yourself who already has the desire. In that moment, your energy shifts into certainty, and certainty is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Instead of longing for the desire, you begin to embody it. You walk with a different posture. You speak with a different tone. You think from a higher perspective. You make choices that match the outcome rather than your fears. You stop acting like someone who is waiting, and you become someone who is living. This is how reality reshapes itself around you. Feeling the desire as done also requires releasing the need to control the process. You do not need to know how it will happen, when it will happen, or who will bring it to you. Your only job is to maintain the inner state of completion. The universe handles the details. Life rearranges, people shift, opportunities appear, paths open. But all of that begins after you feel it within. When you feel the end result with conviction, the universe responds to your emotional signature, not your physical situation. Sometimes your current reality may contradict your desire. That is normal. Old manifestations will still show up for a while, but do not let them convince you that nothing is shifting. The moment you feel the desire is done, your consciousness has already moved, and the outer reality must catch up. Do not argue with the old story. Do not fear temporary appearances. Stay loyal to your inner experience. Feel the truth of your desire again and again until it becomes effortless. With practice, feeling the desire as done becomes your default state. It becomes the air you breathe, the energy you live in, the truth you carry inside you. You no longer question whether your manifestation is coming. You know it is inevitable. You know it is yours. You know the universe is responding to your inner certainty. When you feel the reality of your desire as already done, you align yourself with the version of you who already lives that life. And the moment you align, your manifestation becomes not just possible, but guaranteed. You have already received it in the unseen, and soon you will hold it in your hands. There comes a powerful moment on your manifestation journey when you must choose to stop checking, doubting, and waiting. These 3 habits are the biggest barriers to the life you are calling in. They keep you locked in the energy of lack, constantly looking outside yourself for proof, validation, and reassurance. They pull you out of alignment with the version of you who already has the desire. And most importantly, they send a message to your subconscious mind that you do not believe your wish is already fulfilled. Checking, doubting, and waiting all come from the same place. Fear that what you want will not happen. But fear does not create. Fear blocks, fear delays, fear weakens your assumption. When you check constantly, you are saying to the universe, I don't believe it's coming unless I see something. But manifestation does not work that way. The physical world is always the last place your desire appears. The inner world creates it long before your eyes ever see it. Think about how you feel when you check for results. You rush, you search, you strain, you look around hoping for evidence that your desire is close. Your energy becomes needy and anxious. That energy communicates to the subconscious that you are still waiting, still lacking, still unsure. And because the subconscious always mirrors your dominant state, it recreates more situations where you must keep waiting. The solution is simple, but transformative. Stop checking. Let your desire breathe. Trust the unseen. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Doubting is just another form of checking, but it happens inside your mind. Doubt whispers the old story. What if this doesn't work? What if nothing changes? What if it never happens for me? These thoughts are not truth. They are just echoes of your past experiences. Doubt is the mind trying to protect you from disappointment because it has seen things go wrong before. But your past has no authority over your future unless you let it. Doubt only has power when you believe it, when you give it attention, when you argue with it. But you can choose to let doubt pass through you like a cloud. You do not need to fight it. You simply need to choose a different voice. The voice that says it is already done. Manifestation becomes faster and easier when you develop inner certainty. Certainty is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is quiet, stable, calm, and deeply rooted. Certainty does not need signs. Certainty does not need validation. Certainty does not need to check. Certainty already knows the outcome. When you embody this calm faith, your energy becomes magnetic. You step into the vibration of someone who has moved on from the desire because it is already theirs. Waiting is the final trap. When you think you are waiting, you are placing your desire somewhere in the future, not the present. You are telling your subconscious mind, it is not here yet, and the subconscious will continue creating a reality where it is not here yet. Waiting keeps you in the vibration of lack. It keeps you separated from the version of yourself who already has the manifestation. You cannot wait your way into alignment. You align your way out of waiting. When you feel the desire as done, waiting dissolves. There is nothing left to wait for. You are simply living in the inner reality of its completion. To stop checking, doubting, and waiting, you must shift your internal state. You must begin to live from the end. Living in the end means thinking, feeling, and acting like the person who already has what they desire. It means knowing the desire is already yours in the invisible realm, and the physical world simply needs time to rearrange itself. This is not pretending. It is claiming. You claim the new reality within before it appears without. Imagine how you would feel if you had already received your desire. You would feel calm. You would feel relieved. You would feel grateful. You would not check constantly because there is nothing left to check. You would not doubt because you are living the outcome. You would not wait because the waiting is over. When you embody these feelings now, you collapse the distance between where you are and where you want to be. Another powerful step is to adopt the mindset of non-reactivity. When you see something in your outer world that contradicts your desire, remind yourself that the physical world is always delayed. You are looking at an old reflection. By the time you see evidence, your inner shift has already happened long before. So do not react. Do not fall back into fear. Do not question your progress. Hold your inner assumption with love, with patience, and with certainty. Manifestation is not about controlling the outside world. It is about mastering your inner world. When you stop checking, you release anxiety. When you stop doubting, you strengthen belief. When you stop waiting, you enter alignment. These three decisions bring you into the feeling state of having, not wanting. And the energy of having is what creates manifestation. You are not here to chase signs. You are not here to force outcomes. You are not here to analyze every moment. You are here to choose, to assume, to feel, to trust. Let the universe handle the how and when. Your only work is your inner state. The moment you stop checking, doubting, and waiting, you become a powerful manifester. You move from fear to faith, from lack to abundance, from longing to fulfillment. And the universe responds quickly to the heart that knows its desire is already done. Detaching from the old story with grace is one of the greatest acts of self-love you will ever offer yourself. The old story, the one built on past experiences, heartbreaks, disappointments, and limitations, has been with you for a long time. It became familiar because you lived inside it for years. It shaped your beliefs, your fears, and your expectations. But familiar does not mean true, and familiar does not mean permanent. You are allowed to release what no longer serves you. You are allowed to rewrite the narrative of your life. And you are allowed to rise into a reality far greater than anything your past ever showed you. Detaching with grace does not mean fighting the old story. You do not need to argue with it, resist it, or punish yourself for believing it. Fighting only strengthens what you want to release. Grace is gentle. Grace is peaceful. Grace acknowledges the past without letting it define the future. Grace says, I see what happened. I understand why I believed those things, but I now choose differently. And that single choice, made with calm conviction, begins dissolving the old story from your subconscious mind. The old story forms when you interpret an event through fear. Maybe someone abandoned you, so you assumed you were unworthy. Maybe someone mistreated you, so you believed love came with pain. Maybe you failed once, so you began to assume you were incapable. These were emotional reactions, not absolute truths, but the mind took them as facts and stored them deep within. The moment you decide to detach, you begin breaking the emotional bond between who you once were and who you are becoming. Detaching with grace begins with awareness. You must first recognize the old story without judgment. Notice how it shows up in your thoughts. Notice how it shapes your reactions. Notice how it triggers fear, insecurity, or hesitation. The more awareness you bring, the weaker the old story becomes because it can no longer run your life unconsciously. Awareness is the beginning of transformation. It is the moment you reclaim your power. From this awareness, you gently redirect your focus toward the new version of yourself. You do not try to destroy the old story. You simply stop feeding it. When a limiting belief rises, you say, "That belongs to the past." When an old fear tries to take control, you say, "I no longer choose that." When doubt whispers, you remind yourself, "I am stepping into a new reality now." This is the art of detaching with grace. You respond with softness, not resistance. You respond with love, not fear. The old story may still try to pull you back because it feels familiar and safe, but remember, familiarity is not your destiny. You are not meant to repeat cycles. You are meant to evolve beyond them. When you feel yourself slipping into old patterns, take a breath, pause, ground yourself in the truth that you are no longer that person. Every moment of awareness is a moment of liberation. You are not fighting the past. You are gently choosing your future. Detaching with grace also means forgiving yourself for the years spent believing the old story. You did the best you could with the awareness you had. You survived things that once felt impossible. You carried wounds you never deserved. And yet, here you are, awakening, expanding, and rising into a new chapter. Forgiveness is not about excusing what happened. It is about releasing the emotional weight that keeps you tied to the past. When you forgive yourself, you create space for healing, growth, and new beginnings. As you detach, you may notice the outer world still reflects the old story for a while. That is natural. Reality lags behind your inner transformation. Do not let temporary appearances convince you that nothing is shifting. The physical world is simply catching up. Do not react. Do not spiral back into fear. Instead, hold your new inner narrative with calm certainty. You are rewriting your subconscious programming, and your external life will soon align with it. Grace means trusting the process even when you cannot see the results yet. It means understanding that your inner shift is real, even if the outer shift takes time. It means knowing that every moment you choose peace over panic, faith over fear, and empowerment over hopelessness, you are strengthening the new story. Your new story is one of self-worth, confidence, love, abundance, and inner peace. It is the story of someone who knows their power, someone who knows they are deserving, someone who knows that their past was preparation, not punishment, someone who is ready to receive every blessing life has been waiting to deliver. You detach from the old story by stepping into the feelings of the new one. Imagine the version of you who no longer carries past wounds. How do they think? How do they speak? How do they move? How do they love, create, and manifest? Begin embodying those qualities now. Every time you choose the new identity over the old one, you strengthen the foundation of your new reality. Soon, the old story will stop feeling like home. It will feel distant, irrelevant, and powerless. And the new story, the one shaped by your intention and inner truth, will become the only story you know. Detach from the old story with grace, because you are not losing anything. You are gaining yourself. You are stepping into a life aligned with your worth, your power, and your potential. The past is over. The future is waiting, and you are ready. Speaking to yourself with power and authority is one of the most transformative practices you can adopt. The words you speak to yourself carry immense energy. They shape your beliefs, influence your emotions, and ultimately determine the quality of your life. Every thought you think, every sentence you say in your mind is like a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious. If you speak with uncertainty, doubt, or weakness, your inner world mirrors that, and your reality struggles to reflect what you truly desire. But when you speak with power and authority, you align yourself with the truth of who you are, and your world responds accordingly. Most people underestimate the influence of self-talk. They focus on affirmations as empty phrases or positive thinking as wishful ideas. But the truth is that the tone, conviction, and belief behind your words determine their effectiveness. To speak with power and authority means that you no longer speak from a place of lack, fear, or indecision. You speak from a place of certainty, from a deep knowing that your desires are already unfolding in your life. Your words become commands, not demands, but gentle, firm declarations that your inner reality is creating your outer experience. Speaking with authority begins with awareness of your current language patterns. Notice the words you repeat to yourself throughout the day. Are they empowering or are they limiting? Do you say, I hope this works, or I trust that this is already mine? Do you say, maybe I am not ready, or I'm capable, deserving, and prepared? Every subtle difference in phrasing matters. The subconscious mind does not understand jokes, doubts, or sarcasm. It takes everything literally. When you speak with certainty, your mind begins to internalize it. Your emotions align with it, and your external reality begins to follow. The key to powerful self-talk is to combine belief with feeling. Words alone are not enough. You must say them as if they are already true. For example, instead of saying, I want to be confident, say, I am confident. I trust myself completely. I act with courage and clarity in every situation. Feel the emotion behind the words. Feel the strength, the certainty, and the authority in your tone. Your mind, body, and spirit respond to this alignment. Your energy shifts from lack to abundance, from uncertainty to certainty, and from waiting to receiving. Authority in self-talk also requires consistency. It is not enough to speak powerfully once in a while. You must speak to yourself with conviction every day, in every situation, and in every moment that matters. When fear arises, speak over it. When doubt whispers, speak louder. When the world tries to shake you, remind yourself of your inner truth. Authority is built through repetition and consistency. Every time you choose your words consciously, you strengthen the neural pathways that support the person you are becoming. You are literally rewiring your subconscious mind to embody power, presence, and unshakable confidence. Another critical aspect of speaking with power is the elimination of conditional language. Words like I hope, I will try, maybe, and I can't weaken your vibration and reinforce doubt. Replace them with definitive statements that leave no room for hesitation. For example, instead of I hope I will succeed, say I am successful, I am capable, I accomplish everything I set my mind to. Instead of maybe this will happen, say this is already happening. I am aligned with the perfect timing of life. Your words are not wishes, they are declarations of the truth that exists in the unseen, waiting for your inner voice to acknowledge it. Speaking to yourself with authority is also about ownership. You take full responsibility for your inner world. You no longer blame circumstances, other people, or past events for how you feel or what you experience. You declare, I am in charge of my thoughts, my emotions, and my life. When you speak from ownership, you stop giving away your power. You become the leader of your own reality. Your words become a force that magnetizes the right circumstances, the right opportunities, and the right people into your life. The tone of authority is equally important. Speak with calm confidence rather than desperation or aggression. Authority is quiet, steady, and unwavering. It is not loud or forceful. It is firm, clear, and rooted in inner truth. When you speak in this way, your mind and body respond with alignment. Your posture, energy, and actions naturally reflect your words. You begin to act as if your desires are already real, and your external reality responds accordingly. Finally, speaking with power and authority is a practice of love. It is not meant to force the world to conform to your wishes. It is a way of nurturing your inner self, reminding yourself of your worth, and holding your own hand through the process of creation. Each word you speak with conviction reinforces the life you are building. Each phrase strengthens your belief. Each declaration aligns you with the person you were always meant to be. When you commit to speaking to yourself with power and authority, you transform your inner world. You rewrite old stories of doubt, fear, and limitation. You anchor yourself in the truth of your desires, and slowly, effortlessly, your outer world begins to reflect the authority, certainty, and power you hold within. Your words are not just sounds, they are your blueprint for life, the energy that shapes your reality, and the declaration of the magnificent life that is already yours. Choosing faith over fear every single day is the single most powerful decision you can make in your journey of creation. Fear is loud, persistent, and familiar. It whispers doubts, fuels insecurities, and reminds you of past disappointments. It thrives in uncertainty and thrives on hesitation. But faith, true, unwavering faith, is stronger. It is the quiet, steady force that aligns you with your desires, your potential, and your highest truth. Every time you choose faith over fear, you step closer to the life you are meant to live. You step out of reaction and into creation. Fear often shows up disguised as reason. It tells you why something cannot happen, why you are not ready, or why the universe is against you. It is subtle, cunning, and persistent. Fear thrives when you focus on what is lacking, when you look to the outside world for proof, and when you allow old stories to dictate your beliefs. But the moment you consciously choose faith, fear loses its power. Faith is not ignoring reality. It is seeing beyond the temporary appearances of limitation and trusting the unseen order of life. Faith is choosing to believe that what is already yours will find its way to you, no matter how the world currently appears. Every day, life presents opportunities to choose fear or faith. Perhaps someone doubts you. Perhaps circumstances seem challenging. Perhaps your own mind reminds you of past failures. Fear invites you to contract, to retreat, and to hesitate. Faith invites you to expand, to trust, and to act in alignment with your higher vision. Choosing faith does not mean you do not notice obstacles. It means you refuse to let them control your inner state. It means acknowledging what is present while remaining anchored in the certainty of your desired outcome. Faith is cultivated through daily practice. It is not a single heroic act. It is a series of small, consistent choices. You cultivate faith when you stop reacting to every doubt that arises. You cultivate faith when you choose thoughts, words, and feelings that reinforce your inner certainty. You cultivate faith when you remind yourself that the universe always responds to your dominant vibration, not to temporary appearances. By practicing faith consistently, you train your subconscious mind to align with what you desire rather than what you fear. Fear often tempts you with what-if scenarios. What if it doesn't happen? What if I fail again? What if I am disappointed? These questions are designed to pull your energy downward, to keep you tethered to old beliefs and past disappointments. But faith asks the different question, what if it does happen? What if the life I am imagining is already mine? What if this challenge is the perfect step toward my success? Faith opens doors, fear closes them. Faith builds, fear destroys. The choice between the two is daily, constant, and intentional. Choosing faith also requires trust, not only in the universe, but in yourself. You must trust that your desires were never placed in your heart by mistake. You must trust that the inner vision of your life is possible, even if the outer circumstances appear contrary. You must trust that you are equipped, capable, and deserving of every blessing you seek. Faith is the willingness to lean into this truth, even when the mind protests. Fear is the voice of resistance. Faith is the voice of alignment. Every time you consciously choose faith, your energy shifts. You begin to think differently, act differently, and feel differently. You no longer give power to the scenarios that have never existed except in your mind. You no longer allow the opinions of others or the reflections of the current world to dictate your inner state. Faith places your source of authority within you. You become the one who decides how life is experienced, no longer a passive observer waiting for the external world to deliver proof. Faith is strengthened by repetition. The more you choose it, the stronger it becomes. When fear arises, remind yourself of past experiences where life worked out perfectly when you trusted, when things aligned, or when you let go of control. Let these reminders reinforce your ability to choose faith again. Let every moment of trust become a building block, a habit, a natural response, rather than an occasional effort. Choosing faith becomes as natural as breathing when it is practiced consistently. Choosing faith over fear every single day is also a declaration of your sovereignty. It is the conscious decision to no longer allow doubt, anxiety, or worry to dictate your life. It is the choice to step into the version of yourself who is confident, capable, and aligned. It is the commitment to your desires and to the life you are creating, regardless of temporary appearances or outside influences. Remember, fear is only temporary. It arises, it lingers, and it disappears when it is met with faith. Faith, on the other hand, is enduring. It is anchored in your inner knowing, your vision, and your connection to the limitless possibilities of life. Every moment you choose faith, you strengthen your alignment with the life you desire. Every moment you choose faith, you move closer to the reality that reflects your inner certainty. Every moment you choose faith, you step into your power as the creator of your experience. So today and every day, choose faith. Choose to believe in what is unseen. Choose to trust your inner vision. Choose to align your energy with certainty, abundance, and love. Let fear speak if it will, but do not answer. Let faith be your voice, your guide, and your foundation. In doing so, you step fully into the truth that what is yours cannot be taken, what is meant for you cannot be delayed, and what is created within will always manifest without. Faith is your choice, your power, your shield, and your path. Fear is merely an invitation to remember it.